I'm recording now.
Fantastic. Welcome everyone to the call. Eric Higgins here. I'm an actor, holistic health coach. I'm calling out of Portugal right now. I just want to welcome you all to this special call with an amazing speaker, Dr. Bob Rakowski. And I want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year ahead. So today we're going to be sharing some information with you, some exciting info that will not only impact your health, but also potentially impact your financial situation as well, depending on how you receive this information. And our keynote speaker is the one and only Dr. Bob Rakowski. He's a health expert of close to 30 years. He's been helping people all over the world to reach their absolute potential in health and performance, having worked with some of the best athletes on the face of the planet to hit their personal bests, but also on the other end of the scale, people who are terminally ill and who are sent home to die. Dr. Rakowski has been there to intervene, give them some great information, and thankfully a lot of those people are alive and living today. Also has helped doctors to educate doctors on natural medicine for the last 28 plus years, almost 29 years. He's a dad, he's a business partner of mine, and a really good friend, a really well-centered, heart-centered man who's a ton of value to share. And it's so great for him to give up this time to help educate people moving into a new year. So this is a new year. Let's just take note of what happened last year, take it on the chin, and let's see how we can improve and change things coming into the new year. So Dr. Rakowski, take it away, sir, and share as you always expertly do.
Well, one, thanks for the beautiful intro, and two, for being a great model of a guy who can take it on a chin and come back stronger. And that's really what we want to do, right? We're all going to take a few bumps in life, but we want to win the battle. And so the picture there is the myth of Sisyphus. And this was a guy that was being punished by the gods. And his punishment was to be engaged in a battle that he just couldn't win. So can you win that battle? And the answer is not by yourself, but if you get help, you certainly can. So whoever is invited to this Zoom has the potential to help, and the inviter will help you. So very, very powerful business model there. Don't know why my screen is playing strangely, but also one thing that I like to tell people is, when you look at people that are a little higher on the hill than you, we call those mentors or coaches. And I really like to hire those in every important area of life. And then those below you are your families, your friends, your supporters, your team. And we're going to show ways that you can build that. This is an age-old question. What is the purpose of life? And I like to ponder that and then also see what the experts have said. So Stephen Covey was the best-selling business author, motivational author of the entire 20th century with his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he said life's purposes are fourfold. You want to first live. That's a good idea since we're alive. You want to love, and that's really the essence of expressing the best in you and receiving the best in others. You want to learn because we want to get better, stronger, faster, smarter every day. And then ultimately, you want to leave a legacy. And all of those are going to be touched in some way here. Martin Seligman is the founder or the godfather of modern positive psychology. And it's fascinating, when they looked at psychology before, they were only interested in people that were, really struggling. But Martin Seligman said, what about the other end of the spectrum? And here's what we know. All of history, all of science says that we are here to flourish. We're not here to do a pretty good job or have a pretty good life. We want to do our best, and we want to be our best, and we want to have our best. And I always love pictures like this. When you look at life, it just wants to be expressed regardless of the obstacle. So when we start talking later about our business model, it literally is set up so that whoever's a part of it at any level can absolutely flourish, and everybody has a role and everybody has a place. Les Brown, I've studied him for probably about 30 years, and he is, an American treasure and a great speaker. And he says, when you give a talk, people want to know, first of all, who are you? And Eric did a good job introducing me. Secondly, what do you have that I might be interested in knowing? And then 3, why should you listen to me? So first and foremost, I'm a family man. There's my wife and 3 beautiful kids. And that was taken 7 years ago. And the reason I use that picture is because I had a scare 7 years ago that really got me into action. Eric mentioned that I treat world-class athletes. I've treated champions from every major professional sport, Olympic gold medalists, et cetera. But I've seen the other end of the spectrum. And I love this picture of what's possible because medicine had given up on this diabetic foot and it was scheduled for amputation 2 days later. Look at the foot 2 weeks later with the right program, and then ultimately 17 months later. And I use that as a teaching metaphor for our life. You know, if you're not dead, you've got some life in you, anything is possible. And I've also taught doctors all over the world. So my scare came in the form of an X-ray report. I had a shoulder injury, and literally in the summary, it said that there were multiple lesions in the proximal humerus, and it recommended a bone scan. Now, if you're a doctor, you know that they're looking for bone scans for things like metastatic cancer. And that shocked me. And I thought, my gosh, how the heck is that possible, right? But then it was on the report. So I said, man, what if I have a short time to live? Well, turns out I didn't have metastatic cancer. I had a surgery and they had a calcium type screw in my shoulder that hadn't quite fused yet. So there was an area around it that looked like a lesion, but it was just a surgical artifact. So that's good. When it comes to building businesses, my wife and I have multiple successful businesses. And the one that we're going to talk about here, we've done part-time for 105 months. We crossed over $26 million in sales. And there's our monthly volume. So you see that we've been on a consistent growth trend. So we know what it takes to grow consistently. And it doesn't matter your starting point. Everybody starts at 0. Let's learn how to grow together. So one of the things that we know is important for a really good life and to be a good person is to have virtue and to be virtuous. So I won't read too many things to you, but I'll start with this definition. Virtue, by definition, is the moral excellence of a person. Morally excellent people have character made up of virtues valued as good. They're honest, respectful, courteous, forgiving, and kind, for example, right? Well, when we start looking at character, it's a big part of long-term success because we reap what we sow. And if you're a bad character, you are going to sow bad seeds and they will ultimately come back to you. So let's always strive to have great character. I absolutely love Brian Johnson. He's one of my top mentors and he's got a website called optimize.me. I encourage you to check that out if you're into personal growth. And he looked at the 8 virtues that are timeless and science proven, but he puts wisdom at the top because he's a lover of wisdom. But I'm going to turn that compass just a little bit because I know that the greatest gift we have, the greatest virtue we have is love. So back to Martin Seligman, again, the founder of positive psychology, we are here to flourish. And he studied cultures going all the way back to all of recorded history. And basically they found 6 consistent virtues in lasting cultures. So wisdom and knowledge, courage, humanity and justice, temperance, and transcendence. Now, what I'll tell you is when you really look at those, humanity and justice, they basically merge to love. And temperance is not just about eating and drinking too much. It's really about controlling all part of you, and transcendence is growing to be your best self. So that's about self-mastery. So these are the 4 primary timeless virtues. And again, I like to give love the north-facing point. And then the flourishing virtues are proven also. Zest, you have to have energy. You know, it's hard to conquer the world if you don't have the energy to get out of bed. Gratitude, very, very fascinating science. Those people that have gratitude get more to be grateful for. Hope, you've got to have hope that tomorrow's better than today. And then finally, curiosity has been a trait of some of the best minds, highest achievers and contributors in the history of the planet. So we're going to go through those things. I love Og Mandino. This is his book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. And he says, you know what? I will greet this day with love in my heart, for love is the greatest secret of all ventures. Muscle can split a shield and even destroy life, but only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men. And until I master that art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. The final line is one of the most powerful. He says, and most of all, right after he says he'll love the sun and the stars and the moon and the earth and everybody on it, and most of all, I will love myself. For when I do, I will zealously inspect all things that I allow to enter my mind, my body, my soul, and my heart. So I always like people to repeat that because I think we should all say this. So after me, and most of all, let's try it again. And most of all, I will love myself.
I will love myself.
You don't have to unmute yourself. But thank you. For when I do, I will zealously inspect all things. And I always repeat that, all things, which I allow to enter my body, my mind, my soul, and my heart. So that is one of the greatest lines that I've ever read. And it's something that I focus on making a priority every single day. Immanuel Kant was a famous philosopher. He said, if you want to be happy, you need something to do. You want someone to love and something to hope for. And, those words really ring true. I love all three things in there. Maybe we can give you something to do, which will give you a lot more people to love and a lot more to hope for. Courage is considered the essential virtue that makes all other things possible. Does it take courage to love? Oh, it absolutely does, because that's a little bit risky. If you haven't loved and lost, you probably haven't loved enough. So you want to get that courage. And what's interesting is we want to look at courage and see what it really is and where we want to be with it. So, it's not fearless. Aristotle talked about the golden mean. There is reasonable fear and there's reasonable action. But, if you're hiding under your bed 24/7 because someone said there's a virus out there, that might not be the best strategy. Now, if you're not very strong, you might want to isolate, but how can you get stronger? How can you nourish your body, mind, and spirit and turn that immune system on? And then recklessness, you don't want to take, stupid actions on a bet. And so I use the picture of Russian roulette. I think that's beyond reckless behavior. Jocko Willink is an exemplar of courage, and you act in spite of danger. So he was the Navy SEAL ground commander in Iraq. And they had danger every single day, but guess what? He was up to the task and led men as well. Confidence, why not Michael Jordan? It's basically a trust in your ability to succeed. Doesn't mean you're not going to have obstacles. It doesn't mean you're not going to have a bad day. It doesn't mean you're always going to win, but ultimately you will, because that's what you're committed to. And when you look at self-mastery, I put all of these virtues and my exemplars or examples of what I want to see. Love, I like infinite love. Courage, Jocko Willink, I mentioned that. When we look at wisdom, think about the wisdom of Solomon. And that's the first thing you want to get is wisdom. And self-mastery, whether you're talking about a kung fu master or whatever it is, these people learn to be masters in all that they do. And one of my great masters gave me a quote and said, look, a true master is always at the top of his game. Then we look at a zest for living. You want to have the zest to go out and make things happen. You certainly want hope for a better future. You want to be curious like both Da Vinci and Einstein, and then be grateful for everything, because that will increase your happiness and your effectiveness. Love this quote. The wise learn from the mistakes of others. It's the fool that wants to make their own mistakes. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes. Anytime you go a little beyond where you're capable, you're going to fall short. You might call that a mistake. I like what John Maxwell says. Sometimes I win, sometimes I learn. Always learn from that experience, but you fast track your learning when you learn from those that have gone before you. When it comes to cultivating confidence, I really love the book, The Tools. And basically their first tool is to change your relationship with pain. So I show this girl in an ice bath. I promise you that is profoundly painful, Every day I swim, right? We have a summer and a non-summer here. It's still not that cold. This morning, my water was 49 degrees, but I go outside and I dive in the pool and I swim. And you know what? After you do it 100 or so times, in a row, 100 straight days, you actually have changed your relationship with pain. You look forward to it and it gives you an edge on mental toughness. And if you can conquer that, well, why not conquer some other fear? Zest, you've got to have the energy to make it happen. It's very, very simple. You must take care of your body, mind, and spirit to have zest. And in terms of your body, eat, move, and sleep are the big three. I highly recommend that book. It's from a guy that basically was given a very short life expectancy, and he's dramatically extended his life expectancy and health expectancy by learning how to eat, learning how to move, learning how to sleep, and prioritizing each. When we start looking at mental zest or emotional zest, I love this quote from Emerson: nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And the word enthusiasm from entheos literally means God within. So here's the question: if there is a God and God is everywhere, is God in you? Well, I think most people believe there is a God and God is everywhere. Well, then God's in you. If you don't, you might want to study that a little bit more, but realize you're capable of so much and much more with enthusiasm. This was a very fascinating experiment on the psychology of hope by Kurt Richter. And here's what he did. They would basically put rats in a swirling tank of water and make them swim. And, he would ask the question, how long can a rat swim? Well, literally, if they just let them swim and they didn't think they could get out, they would actually sink to the bottom within 15 minutes. But as they started to fail, if they pulled them off, gave them a nice warm towel, a little piece of cheese and, whatever they needed, and then put them back in the water, if they thought hope was on the way, pretty fascinating result. They could actually swim for 60 hours. So they could improve their time of battle by 240x. Well, I'm going to encourage you to always maintain hope because it is the fuel of progress. So interesting book, Making Hope Happen. He quoted a Gallup poll. And here's what they found. If a leader inspires hope, nearly 7 of 10 of their team members are excited about contributing to the team. But if they do not inspire hope, only 1 in 100 team members. I want you to think about that. So if you're leading any level of team, always lead with hope. I like to call it the secret sauce of leadership. How about curiosity? I mentioned Da Vinci. That was his top mental trait, but this is a quote straight from Einstein. He says, look, I don't have any special talents. I'm just passionately curious. And he definitely was that. And here's what he said are the benefits. You will increase your learning. Why? Because you're always looking into something. You will increase your personal growth. You will get better, stronger, faster, smarter, and you'll stop judging others. If someone has an interesting behavior or a decision, how about just taking an attitude? I'm curious. Can you tell me more about that? You'd be surprised how many times people are acting out of ignorance or pain or both. So, get that level of curiosity. And this quote I love: if I had an hour to solve a huge problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about it or asking myself the right questions, and then 5 minutes solving it. Same thing when you're connecting with someone who might be a potential team member. If you had an hour to network with them, learn about them for the first 55 minutes. So how do we win this battle in 2021 and beyond? Get help. That is the solution. And whoever invited you literally wants to help you and wants to help you invite people to get more help. So how about if someone came up to you and asked this question? Would you like to take your better brain, body, and beautiful skin to wonderful places and enjoy deliciousness? Well, I would think if you asked 100 out of 100 people that question, they'd probably get 100 people that say, yeah, all those things sound good to me. And then what if they added ultimately with whomever you want and whenever you want, And that's what we're offering in terms of this business and this opportunity. So we have products that definitely make you better. It's absolutely indisputable in the science, in the literature, and in experience. And guess what? If you build a strong enough team to help you get over this hill, then you can create total freedom. So Stephen Covey says this, if you want small improvements, change your behavior. If you want massive improvements, change your paradigm. And this is a paradigm shifting documentary. Rise of the Entrepreneur literally interviews over 25 multi-millionaires and even billionaires, and they conclude there absolutely is a better way to be an entrepreneur. And what they say quite simply is the business of network marketing offers the lowest risk with the highest potential reward. What's the low risk? You buy into a business for $50. What's the potential reward? Top earners so far, $67 million on that $50 initial investment. So I like this guy's story because I can relate to it. His name is Steve Hurstchuk, and he was an anesthesiologist. And he realized that he was making a very good living. He was making a lot of money, but he was not making a good life. His average work week was 60 hours, and 1 week a month, he was on call 24/7. He was introduced to network marketing and the concept of royalty income. And by the way, royalty is simple, right? You do the work once, you get paid more than once. In my case, I have people that I've been paid, did the work one time, many thousands of times from that single effort. I want you to think about how good that sounds and how good a model that is. But literally within 6 years, very, very part-time, he was still working 60 hours a week, but he would go into the doctor's lounge between cases and he would call people and say, look, I've got something I want to share with you. It'll take 15 minutes to look at it. When can you spare 15 minutes? Then he'd send them a video and you call them up and say, hey, what'd you like most? And they'd tell him, he said, look, I'm building a massive team. I'm going to win this big. If you want to be part of my team, come join me. Well, we're basically telling you that same thing today. And when you evaluate a business, you want to look at the products, the company, the profit potential, the timing, and the support. And very simply, our products have patented competitive advantages and extreme price point, convenience point, taste point, etc. advantages. So we've got coffee and tea infused with reishi. I'll talk about reishi later. We've got shakes infused with reishi. They taste like liquid birthday cake, and people can either sculpt their dream body, right? We have action hero Eric Higgins introducing us, but we also have people the other end that have lost 100 pounds of weight. We've got a partnership with a brain technology called NeuroTracker, where their catchphrase is a better brain in 90 minutes. Literally 53 published studies, 20 years of data. The reason they partnered with Organo is they realized that when people consume Organo beverages, their brain improves much more. And now it's documented about 130% more than people that don't consume Organo. We've got skincare that is clean, effective, and nourishing. There are literally over 100 ingredients used in US skincare that are banned in Europe. And this is from the cleanest country in the world, New Zealand. And the company has a 20-year track record of success before we partnered with them. And then finally, we're partnered with over 100,000 resort locations around the world where you can get the best location at the guaranteed lowest price. A little bit on Ganoderma. It was used by the royal family exclusively 4,000 years ago. In fact, if you were caught with it and not in the royal family, first offense, they'd cut your arm off. Second offense, they would cut your head off. Here are two of the original emperors in China's version of Mount Rushmore, and the same two guys in the park holding Ganoderma. Now, you'll notice they look up in years, and in fact, they were in their 70s, but because they were considered godlike, it was their duty to pass on their DNA. So still in their 70s, they had over 1,000 mistresses and the vitality to keep performing that duty. When you look at the medical literature, this is pubmed.gov. Anybody can look it up. This was last week, so there's probably more studies already. And notice that since 1961, there's been a significant increased interest in Ganoderma. but 1,883 published medical studies. And then I decided, okay, let's look at Ganoderma in the heart. Well, 37 studies, here's the summary. It's really good for your heart. How about Ganoderma in the brain? Yeah, 58 studies, it's really good for the brain. How about Ganoderma in the immune system? 231 studies. Do you know anybody that wants a better immune system today? And think about that. Do people drink coffee and tea every day, multiple times a day? You bet, right? They're the top consumed beverages in the tune of billions per day all over the globe. It's so safe that pregnant women can take it and should take it. My daughter has a beautiful daughter now, so I'm a grandpa that way. And my daughter-in-law also has a beautiful baby, so I'm a grandfather that way too. They consume Ganoderma multiple times a day, all throughout pregnancy. And what I can tell you is the pregnancies were awesome, the babies are awesome, and they're awesome. No known drug interaction, no known toxicity, and everybody should take it. Now, I want you to think about this. I've been in clinical practice for 30 years. I've treated over 10,000 patients in every category. And this is the absolutely most universal nutrient combination that everybody should be taking. But keep in mind, if people are going to take something, here's their criteria. It's got to be tasty. That's first and foremost. It's got to be convenient. It's got to be affordable. And health is their number 4 reason. Well, we've got all of those factors included. Our coffee, tea, shakes, hot chocolate, they're profoundly delicious. They're more affordable than Starbucks or McCafe or Dunkin' Donuts, whoever's selling it. Convenient, you just add water. Ours is pre-brewed. I used to drive 10 minutes to Starbucks one way, wait in line for 10 minutes, pay $5 for my coffee, then drive back 10 minutes home, and I'd be ready for another one. Now I have it on demand that I just add hot water and it's there. And by the way, ours is turbocharged with Ganoderma and the highest quality Ganoderma in the world. Since the Ganoderma market, US alone, is $2.5 billion a year, there's going to be all range of suppliers. So basically, this is the low-end supplier, which is most of them. Here's ours. USD is certified organic, EcoCert, kosher, halal. We've got all the highest quality that you can have. And, it's said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now with brain studies, we know a picture is worth 2 million words. This woman had a lifetime skin condition that resolved in 6 months with black coffee. This guy had a serious skin condition that resolved with black coffee and soap that contains Ganoderma. This young girl had a condition that resolved in just 6 days of daily hot chocolates. So the products are really, really good. Frank lost 100 pounds in 10 months drinking shakes that tasted like liquid birthday cake. And because they are so nutritious, he wasn't hungry at all. It was actually, as he says, an easy 100 pounds to lose. So how's the company done? Well, in their first 5 years, they crossed $1 billion in sales, faster than Starbucks, faster than Facebook, faster than Microsoft, faster than Apple. And they did it without a single dollar spent on advertising and without a single storefront. How'd they do it? They know that most first sales in the world are a word of mouth referral. So they say, you know what, if you partner with us and you create word of mouth referral, we'll pay you on that sale. And not just that one, but every sale that that person earns or makes. So think about it. I shared a cup of coffee with someone about 8.5 years ago. They drink 3.3 cups a day, which is the average. That's well over 1,000 cups a year. Now multiply that out by 8 years, 8,000 times I've been paid by a single effort. So does your job allow that? How many business models allow that? Not many, right? Network marketing does. We're currently in 36 countries, and the day you join, you are absolutely in business in all 36 countries. So what does it cost? $49.95. You get an ever-evolving world-class website along with a merchant account, customer service, shipping, and built-in mentorship, all for $50. Think about it. If you wanted to get mentored by someone who is high level and successful, do you think you'd pay more than $50 an hour? I promise you, you would. And it's built in for free, as much of it as you want to tap into. And then all the other things are beyond amazing perks. Then, of course, you're going to want to purchase your initial inventory, and those packages are available for whatever blend of product you want. And then if you want to make money fast, maximize your return on investment, the company has different accelerator packs. They call them good, better, or best, bronze, silver, or gold. I personally said, you know what, if I'm going to build this, I'm going to build it. I started gold and left no money on the table. So if that makes sense to you, that's where I would go. Eric Golden earned millions in network marketing. He did it with Amway, which, by the way, was the first. So he had an advantage there. But it's a much harder company to build. But he would say this, people want to know the answers to these three questions. Number one, can I do this? I'll tell you right now, you can if you choose to. It's literally as simple as sharing coffee and tea and then connecting to someone who knows more than you. Is it worth it? Once you build a solid team, it absolutely is. And where will you find the time? Steve Hurschuk working 60-hour weeks as a busy doctor. Guess what? He made calls from the doctor's lounge. We can connect people to Zooms however you want. But I'm going to tell a few stories here. So I have some wonderful friends here in Houston, Guy and Neely Miller, and their daughter Dakota stuck a fork in the microwave. And mom looked at her and said, you know what? You broke it, you pay for it. And she said, how am I going to do that? I'm 6 years old. She said, go door to door and sell hot chocolate. So she'd knock on the door and say, hi, my name's Dakota Miller. I broke my parents' microwave. I'm trying to earn money to fix it. I'm selling hot chocolate. Would you like some? She earned $200 in 2 hours. I want you to think about what a great life lesson that was and what a great example for all of us. When you start looking at people that might have a business like myself, basically what I was told was put a hot water boiler and coffee samples in your waiting areas, have the staff offer people a cup of coffee or tea when they come in, make it as they like it. That's important, right? If you like it strong, make it strong. If you like it mild, make it mild. Since it's pre-brewed, it's a lot easier to go from stronger to weaker. But literally, once the people would sip it, my staff would ask, how do you like that? They would say, wow, it's really good. The follow-up comment was, it's really good for you too. You should get a box. And within 6 months, we were bringing in an extra $5,000 a month. When I decided to build a business, that was the first thing I did. I reached out to my friends with business and said, look, I put a hot water boiler, with healthy coffee and tea samples in my waiting area. Now I'm earning an extra $5,000 a month. I think you can do that too. And literally, within 4 months, we were at $100,000 a month with people having healthy coffee and tea in their waiting area. We've got people that know how to use social media. Emily Morrow is phenomenal at that. Within just 2 years, she built a multi-million-dollar per year business by just putting simple posts on Instagram. You might want to follow her and see how it is, but it's very, very simple. She's authentic, she's consistent, and she positions herself as an expert. You can position yourself as someone who's in love with a better life, and here's how you're getting it. And I love this story. Whitney's husband was someone who was on government assistance living in a double wide trailer. She would reach out to people on Facebook, pay him a really nice compliment because she had a makeup and hair company and say, wow, you have really pretty eyes. What kind of eye makeup do you use? Everybody likes a compliment. They'd reply back and she would then say, you know what, I have an organic, makeup company. I'm trying to help myself and my 2 kids. We're really struggling right now. If I send you a sample, would you try it? And if you like it, would you become a customer? Well, literally within 2 years, she was earning over $1 million a year. And now she's been doing that for 10 straight years. So from struggling to rich because she put in the effort. Now here's our question again. Would you like to take your better brain, body, and beautiful skin to wonderful places and enjoy deliciousness, ultimately with whomever you want and whenever you want? And we offer the opportunity for any part of that or all of the above if you choose. We will take questions after this, but basically here are the questions that Jim Rohn, this is the guy that launched Tony Robbins. He became a multimillionaire in the 1960s selling vitamins. After he'd present the opportunity, he would ask these 4 questions. First question is, why? Why'd you take the time to join us today? There's so many other things you could do. Second question is the answer to the first. Why not? Why not learn how to create your best life, create with people that are already doing it in a proven business model with products with patented competitive advantages and a global market? The third question is, why not you? Someone's going to say, this makes perfect sense. I'm in. I'm going to make 2021 great. So if anything ever goes chaotic again in the world, I'm positioned to win. And then here's the final question. Why not now? The longer you wait to act on information, the least likely you are to act on it.